Okay, so Marvel's Eternals, brand new title, joining the MCU. Plot is basically the Eternals are a group, I think it's 10 of them, of superhumans that have been sent to Earth by a celestial, which is basically a godlike being, to protect humanity as they develop, from like primitives to modern day society. They're there to protect them from deviants, which are basically monsters. They fulfill that duty. The deviants are defeated, and then they're sort of waiting, sort of hidden in plain sight, waiting as normal people to be told what to do next. I assume to return where they came from. Um, I'll sort of I'll say for the plot anyway. The film is first off very inclusive. There is a incredibly wide range of races and everything else on display. There is one of the Eternals who is deaf, she doesn't speak, and she uses sign language. And I believe the actress playing her is actually deaf. There is a gay couple who is it's not treated like, in my opinion, it's not treated like a, that it's something there to be especially there. You know what I mean? It's just there. There is an Indian Eternal. There is an Asian Eternal. I think one of them is Irish, if I remember. I saw this yesterday. I've already forgotten. But it's very inclusive film, and it's also been directed by I forgot her name, but she was my research is failing me now. I did look this up, but anyway, she's a really good director. Anyway, so it's a very inclusive film. Now, I'm saying that not to say it's bad. I know a lot of people will say that it's sort of like too in your face, and that's probably what's holding the film back. I don't agree with that. I just think that was one of the quite surprising parts. Um, there is a lot of CGI, which is standard these days in films, especially in the MCU films. Um, I think I personally got used to that. So I know I've heard some people have pointed out that the CGI itself kind of detracts from the film. Like sort of it becomes you're very aware you're watching special effects, and so um, you lose your you lose yourself. You can't lose yourself so easy in it. That wasn't the problem for me. For me, the problem with the film was it is a very long film. Now, it's 2.5 hours, which is nothing that unusual these days, but it felt long. And I think the main problem with that for the film is because there are 10 Eternals and then there's other side characters, they can't give enough time on any particular one or couple or group even. And so you're constantly going back and forth. Also, the structure of the film is that it's set in modern day or slightly in the future, whatever it is, but they keep going back to explain how the group fell apart or what happened to them years before. And that sort of structure, at least for me, did make the film feel a bit clunky. And you're like, oh, this is going to be explained, but then there's another like, oh, what happened then? So the next flashback will explain that. Um, Acting wise, they're all doing a brilliant job. There's not a single actor that I didn't like in the film, even though I thought in the trailer Angelina Jolie seemed a bit sort of like not interested, but it made sense when I saw the film why her character seemed that way. Um, the other problem, I think, is the because of that. Like I said, there's so many characters. The villains, I won't say who, but the villains themselves were kind of. One of them was given a lot of time. The other one, I think, was the more interesting one, a sort of CGI character, monster guy. He was barely given lines and barely there at all. Really, he's there for the final fight, but again, it's not nothing much comes of it. Um, but yeah, I think the film was a kind of a bit bloated. The thing is, I did like the film. I did enjoy it, but there's just so much trying to be forced into this one film. And I say it's 2.5 hours long, which isn't that long really these days, but it felt long. Like sitting there in the cinema, it did feel long. But I did enjoy my time watching it, so I'm kind of like on both sides of it really here. It's not my favorite MCU film, but I think it possibly is better than some of the other sort of origin style stories. Um, as it goes, I want to also point out it's a 12A, and I was surprised that there is a kind of a sex scene in it. Obviously, it's nothing. shown below here, shall we say. But it's very clear there is a man on top of a woman and what they're doing. I don't know if it's just me getting old now that I'm surprised at that sort of thing, but for 12A I thought it was a bit strong. Um, there's a lot more. It seemed more violent. Maybe that's because I just haven't seen many films lately, apart from Halloween, although that's very violent. But for 12, it just seemed a bit more violent. Maybe because it's like a lot of human characters fighting as well. That might have been it. But it's just me becoming an old man, I guess. Um, but yeah, I think overall, I enjoyed my time with it, but I'm not in a rush to see it again, mainly because of how long it felt. Um, Obligatory thing for the end credits. They are worth staying for. However, if you don't know at least moderately Marvel comic lore, you may not really grasp what is going on in those end credits, because it is, spoiler warning. Quickly, if you want to hit, I'm not going to actually say what it is, but I'm going to sort of tell what kind of thing it is. So, spoiler warning here. You've been warned. It introduces a new character in the end credits scenes, both the end credit scenes actually, kind of. But it's a character that is in the film and it's hinted at throughout the film. So if you know characters' names or their their real names, then yeah, you'll know it's coming. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it, but it's a very long feeling film. The CGI, some people think it's a really bad thing. I do prefer practical effects, but I didn't really mind it this time. And overall, I think it's a very positive move how inclusive the film is, because it didn't detract. It wasn't like, oh, they've spent so much time trying to make it so inclusive that now they've ruined the like what could have been. No, and the film did get a few laughs at me. I'm quite hard to please when it comes to comedy. But yeah, especially with the Indian character. Um, yeah, I'd say if you're an MCU fan, it's worth checking out. If you aren't an MCU fan, this film isn't going to change your mind about that.